In this episode, I'm going to be pulling back the curtains and revealing exactly how the Instagram algorithm works, so you can stop wasting your time and money and energy on ineffective strategies and bad advice, and start leveraging proven principles to grow your brand and business on Instagram. Let's get to it. Hey there, my name is Erhart, marketing strategist, and welcome to The Marketing Show, where we help you grow your business and generate more leads, customers, and sales. So, if you're interested in learning the latest and greatest marketing strategies, tools, tips, tricks, and tactics, well, you may want to consider subscribing and hitting that notification bell so you don't miss a future episode. Alright, let's talk Instagram, and specifically the Instagram algorithm, because there's a lot of mystery and a lot of so-called secrets and hacks and tricks and tactics that a lot of people are talking about in order to try to game the system and sort of beat Instagram at their own game. Now, I love strategies, and I'm a big fan of tactics and tricks and the occasional hack as well, but I do have a problem when people try to essentially beat the system, rather than simply learning the rules of the game and abiding by them. It's a far shorter and way more effective strategy. After all, why would you try to beat the system when you could just learn the system and essentially play by the rules, which in the end is going to get you a lot farther, a lot quicker? In fact, for everybody that actually tried and successfully did manage to beat the system, well, there's dozens and dozens who failed and either didn't get anywhere or actually had their accounts banned or shut down or got completely kicked off the platform. This is why the key to success with Instagram or Facebook or YouTube or pretty much any other social media network out there is really understanding the science and the strategies and essentially the practicable principles behind the networks and behind the algorithms. The better you understand and can learn and leverage those, well, the better your results are going to be. Okay, rant and lecture over. Let's dive right in with tip number 1, which is essentially that Instagram is a bit of a black box and we'll never really truly understand how the algorithm actually works. Whoa, I can almost hear some of you asking, how could you title an episode how the Instagram algorithm works and then make your first tip that we'll never really know how the algorithm works? But stick with me, because we're going to uncover this all in this episode. And that all starts with having a really clear and really firm understanding that anyone who claims to have mastered the algorithm and completely figured it out and really dialed in on the exact details and the exact strategies that you need to follow in order to have success, well, they're kind of full of it. And here's why. You see, whether we're talking about Instagram or Facebook or Google or YouTube, well, their algorithm is really how they make their money. And they can't really afford to let all their secrets out and allow their system to be gamed, certainly not in the long term. You see, these aren't tiny little companies. These are massive corporations. Bloomberg estimates that Instagram is worth $100 billion. Yes, that's billion with a B. Their algorithm is largely responsible for that $100 billion valuation, so they're not about to just let it out there or let anybody figure out just for the fun of it. Fortunately, the writing is on the wall, and this is where people like you and me can really start to study and learn and implement much of what we're seeing is actually happening in the real world, so we can start to discern what strategies, what tactics, and what sort of tricks and hacks we can use to understand and then leverage the power of the algorithm. You see, while the algorithm is a black box, and while nobody can really claim with 100% certainty exactly how it works and exactly what kind of content they're prioritizing, well, the results are publicly visible right there on your feed. What this means is that by learning and by studying and by analyzing the content and other people's accounts, well, you're able to discern what principles and what strategies got them there so you can adopt and apply those in your account. Alright, so now that we've got that covered, the next important principle that you really need to understand and that governs the Instagram algorithm is how Instagram makes money. This principle is so incredibly important to talk about when we're talking about any kind of algorithm because at the end of the day, Instagram is a business and Instagram needs to make money. So the best way to have them help you is by you helping them. So to help them, well, you first need to understand what they want from you so you can give them more of that and less of what they don't want. And what do they want? Well, money, of course, but how do they get money? Well, that's the secret. First off, it's important to note that Facebook owns Instagram, so much of the strategies and much of the secrets behind the algorithm that we're talking about here on Instagram, well, they apply equally to Facebook, and seeing as Facebook was there first, we're able to take a lot of what we learned from Facebook and apply it directly to Instagram, which means the Facebook business model is essentially the Instagram business model as well. And so what's the Facebook business model? Well, it's simple. It's ad revenue. Basically, Facebook makes its money by leveraging advertising and allowing businesses to advertise on its platform to its users. And the same goes for Instagram. What this means is that for Instagram to make more money, they need to keep people happy and engaged and on the platform as long as possible, so they can serve them more ads and make more money. It's not right, it's not wrong, It's just business. And it's good business. And it's good for you, because now that you understand that essentially their goal is to make money, and the way they do that is by keeping users happy and engaged and present on the platform as long as possible, well, you can use this in your favor to understand and leverage the principles behind the algorithm. Once you understand that, well, understanding the entire algorithm and how to essentially master it and use it in your business makes it a whole lot easier. But enough of that, let's get into the nitty-gritty and some of the specifics on how you can deploy this for your account. One of the keys behind the Instagram algorithm and how it works to essentially keep people on the platform as long as possible is making sure that good quality content is going out to its users. And how they determine this all starts with a small sample size of users that they're going to first test your content out with before sending it to everyone. Basically, anytime you create a post, they're going to show it to a small sample size of your audience and gauge it in relation to kind of what kind of engagement it gets back and how well the post performs overall. If it does well, they're going to show it to more people. If it does bad, well, they're going to tank it. This is where a lot of people get really mad at the algorithm and say, my stuff's never getting shown to anyone. But in reality, they probably did show it to a small sample size, and maybe people just didn't react that well to it. This is why, as cliched and as overused and as generic and as broad and as almost borderline terrible advice as it is, one of the keys to success with the algorithm really is to create better content. I'm sorry, I really wish I had something better for you there, but the reality is that you do need to create better content so that you can get better reactions and better engagement so they can show it to more people. All that said, well, even if you put out great content, it still doesn't guarantee success, because there are some other factors that you need to be aware of and to leverage in order to really leverage and maximize the power of the algorithm in your favor. So let's get to those now. The algorithm looks at a number of different factors in order to determine if your content is going to be able to keep people on the platform longer. If so, they're going to show it to more people, and if not, well, they're going to throttle that reach. Because remember, and this part's really important, the goal of the algorithm is to keep people on the platform as long as possible, so they can keep their users happy and they can generate more ad revenue. It's not good, it's not bad, it's just business. I said that already. When deciding what content to show, they look at a few different factors, including interests, like what are the interests of your audience and your users? What other kind of content do they follow? What styles, what themes, and what other influencers are they following? Recency, how current or how recent was your last post, and especially in regards to your users or your audience's behavior, but more on that in just a minute. Frequency, how often are you posting? Is it hourly, daily, monthly, yearly? Have you ever posted? There is going to be a sweet spot of probably around 1 to 3 times a day, but it's going to vary widely depending on your business and your industry and your market, and essentially how much and how good a content you can put out there consistently. And engagement. How engaged is your audience with your content? How engaged are you with your audience? Do you have a high ratio of likes and comments on your posts? Do you respond to comments and begin conversations in the comment section? Are DMs being responded to? Well, the algorithm tracks all of that, and it uses it to assign a score and essentially prioritize which content is going to appear higher. All that said, two of the most important metrics, and ones that are really easy to track and monitor and measure for your business, are recency and engagement. So let's look at both of those quickly now. When it comes to recency, we want to look at things like how recent was your last post? What kind of schedule are you on? But the bigger question is, how long is the gap between when you post and when the bulk of your audience is online? See, if that gap is too big, well, Instagram is likely to prioritize all the other posts that occurred between then over yours. Your best plan here is to really nail down exactly when your target market and the bulk of your followers are online so you can prioritize accordingly. And the way to find that is right through your analytics. The other metric you really need to pay attention to here is engagement. And again, remember, and I know I've said this a lot, but the goal of the platform is to keep people on it as long as possible. And one of the best ways to do this is to encourage and foster relationships on the platform, meaning encouraging commenting and getting those conversations going in the DMs as well as on your posts, and essentially just trying to build real relationships right there on Instagram. The algorithm looks at all of these things, and it will prioritize those heavy users and those that are really fostering and building relationships that, again, are keeping people on the platform as long as possible. Alright, so now that we've broken down the nuts and bolts of the algorithm, let's head into the lightning round with some of my top Instagram marketing tips and tricks that you can use immediately to leverage the power of the Instagram algorithm in your favor. Number 1 is hashtags, and I know this has been said time and time again, but the reality is hashtags are still important, and they provide valuable cues to the algorithm in order to properly align keywords with interests that your audience has. So hashtags, gotta use them. Number 2 is consistency. As we already talked about, recency is important, but so is consistency, so finding a schedule that you can stick to, that your audience can begin to count on, and so can the algorithm, well, these are both important factors. Number 3 is be congruent. What this means is making sure that your feed and your profile in general sticks to one kind of niche, one kind of topic, one kind of theme. If people are following you for, say, fitness advice, well, you're going to lose a lot of them when you start posting about fashion or food. Be congruent, stick to one theme. Number 4 is leverage off-site traffic. Now, Instagram is one of those platforms that can benefit heavily by sending traffic to it from other platforms. If you're in the business-to-business or B2B space, well, then you're obviously going to want to take a look at LinkedIn. If you like making videos and you've got search-friendly content, then YouTube's going to be a great place to start. If you've got a broad market with mass market appeal, then obviously you're going to want to double down on something like Facebook. And of course, if you have a website or a blog or an email list, well, these are all great resources to direct traffic towards Instagram from. Number 5 is advertising, and no episode on Instagram would be complete without at least a quick shout out to what I believe is one of the single most effective forms of online marketing available today, Instagram ads. Basically, when it comes to Instagram ads, well, many of the strategies, if not all of the strategies that I talked about here today, well, they apply equally as well. Again, the goal of the Instagram algorithm, whether we're talking about organic or paid content, is to keep people engaged and on the platform as long as possible. This is why the Instagram algorithm rewards good ads. So the better you're able to create an effective and engaging and visually appealing ad, well, the better you're going to do. The goal when it comes to advertising is obviously not to annoy people, which would have them leave, but rather have them stay on the platform, engage with the content, and really just have a good experience overall. Alright, the next thing you're going to want to do is check out this video I have linked up right here, which is part of this Instagram marketing series. It's going to provide you with even more strategies and tactics and tools to help you up your Instagram marketing game and get even better results from the platform. So make sure to check that out right now. Thanks so much for watching, and I'll catch you next time on The Marketing Show. The promote button, on the other hand, is what I call random acts of marketing.